Dr. P here to talk about what you're trying to do in level design. Essentially, it's the same objective as in game design. You're trying to help the players enjoy what they're doing. Now, I prefer the player-centric approach, which means you concentrate on finding ways to let the player enjoy what they're doing. It's not about showing how brilliant you are. It's not about you at all. It's about the players. It isn't about making them do what you want them to do. It's about letting them make their own story. Now, you may disagree with this, but I think you'll be less successful if you don't follow this player-centric view. However, it's easier than game design. Here's a quote from Jeffro Johnson that I liked. "The number of people that can design a game worth developing is much smaller than the number of people that can develop an existing game. Therefore, these two creative activities are qualitatively different." Now, a developer, as he's talking about it, is somebody who takes a board game and essentially acts as a super editor and super playtester to try to improve it. Level adventure design is somewhere in between. It's more than developing an existing game, but you are using an existing game and trying to provide enjoyment for the players. But it's still quite a bit easier than devising the game itself. Now, I haven't said a word about story. Usually the level or the adventure will contribute to the story of the overall game or the campaign, but it's always subordinate to that story. And occasionally you'll have levels or adventures that'll be side trips that won't advance the actual main story as a whole at all, but they still need to be something that the players enjoy. The players have to enjoy what they're doing and not just be there to follow the story. Something that I've observed is that we suffer from escalation in the 21st century. If you go back to the original Sherlock Holmes stories, for example, it was sufficient to defeat an individual bad guy, a murderer, something like that. Then in the pulp era, the 1930s, you'd defeat an unusual bad guy or maybe a gang. But now you have to save the world. And if your objective is not saving the world, to some people that's disappointing. I just watched on TV the third Transformers movie and was reminded how much every time in a Transformers movie you're saving the world. I think things lose their impact when it's always save the world. And also, if you're making a series of levels for a game, each individual level cannot be about saving the world, or you'd be saving the world a dozen times in the course of the game. So you've got to find subsidiary objectives other than save the world. So you're providing a limited and constrained experience that you hope will help the player take on the game step by step. They don't get introduced to the whole thing at once. As they go along, more things are introduced, and one of the no-nos of level design is to have almost all the new stuff introduced in the first few levels, and then in later levels it's just the same stuff over and over again. And because you're introducing the players to the game, you have to ask yourself about your target market. Do the players want to be forced to do things, or do they want choices? Some people like to be led by the nose. They like to listen to a story. Other people, when they play a game, they hate to be led by the nose. They want to feel that they control what's going on. Whatever they like, your job is to help them enjoy the game.